Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and you're catching us live from SBI Live Studios. And viewers, let's get started with all your stock-related queries. But before we go ahead, just a small note, you can connect with us on the live number that will be flashing on the top of your screen, and that's on your screen right now. And you can just tell us which stock that you have already invested in, plan to invest in, your name, from where you are writing, and we will try to take as many queries as possible. And for today, we have two of our very special guests joining us as well to guide you better. We have Kunal Bothra live with us in the studios, and Mr. G. Chokalingam is also with us on the show. A very good morning, gentlemen, and thank you so much for your time. And let's get started. A lot of queries already trickling in. Let me take the first one, and this is coming in from Mohit from Ludhiana. His query is on Star Health. He's holding 200 shares of this particular counter. Buy price is 590 rupees. Mr. Chokalingam, if I can have your take on this one, because within the insurance pack, Star Health has been one of the key underperformers, even on the back of their fundamentals and financials. But what's your current take right now? Seems like his buying price is way higher, but his time horizon is for the next 3 years. What will you advise?
For very long investment horizon, I would rather prefer something in public sector banking industry rather than insurance, because the business growth is always far superior for banking industry, and within that, PSBs, public sector banks, hold a lot of promises. So I would shift to bank like Bank of Maharashtra or Bank of India rather than staying invested in Star Health Insurance.
All right, so Kunal, let's move on to other query. This is on HCL Tech from Guna Salina, and she says that she wished to check HCL Tech shares rise in few days. She has not given us the buy price, but then she wants to understand if she can hold.
Yeah, I think you can hold on to the stock. My sense is that many of these large cap IT names, as well as select few mid cap IT stocks, are showing signs of bottoming out. The pace of selling has stopped. You're seeing these stocks come back to recovery. The Nifty IT index is also on the verge of a breakout of the 200 DMA. That could also aid the move for large cap names like HCL Tech. So I think, and my assumption is that you are looking at this as a medium to long term play. I would believe holding on to these larger cap and IT names, I think is a good bet, given the way the markets are panning out, as well as the sector revival, which we are seeing for the Nifty IT.
All right, so that's the take coming in from Kunal on select counters. But Kunal, the next query that I have is coming in from on Bank of Maharashtra as well as Tata Capital. Bhushan from Pune wants to know that is this a good time to buy any of these counters for Tata Capital? I believe you will have a limited history, but any thoughts here?
For Bank of Maharashtra, I think it's a good time to start looking at investing or buying into the stock at levels sub the 60 mark where it's trading right now. I sense that the stock is trying to form a near-term bottom on the short-term charts. It's come back towards a retracement of its key moving averages. So the risk what starts to look a little bit more better, and we've seen that the entire PSU banking name theme has been doing very well. So I think buying on dips, say broad 10% odd correction, is a good strategy for stocks like Bank of Maharashtra. You can also probably look at a few of the other PSU banking names, the traditional ones, the likes of Canara Bank, PNB, Bank of Baroda, etc. In case you don't have them as part of your portfolio. Tata Capital, the chart history is limited, but even in the last 1 month of chart so far, the stock has corrected quite sharply from 335 levels to now 310, 315 mark where it's trading right now. So it looks to be a stock which is still into a corrective phase.
We also have a live viewer on the phone line, Mr. Parth Anand from. We also have a live viewer on the phone line, Mr. Parth Anand from Punjab. Hi Parth, morning. Thank you so much for sending us your question. You can ask. Our experts are listening here.
Good morning, madam.
Hi.
Madam, I have two shares, Tata Capital IPO or TVS Supply Chain for 200 share, 131.
Okay. All right. And you plan to hold them for how long now?
1 year, madam.
1 year. All right, Mr. Chokalingam, I'll come to you. What's your take?
Tata Capital, one can hold for very, very long term. But as I mentioned already, I would still prefer a banking name, because in the system, there is the deposit is not growing, and, the banks and financial institutions are not able to reduce their own borrowing cost, but their lending cost is going down because of the reversal of interest rate cycle. So I would prefer a banking name. One can even look at, SBI or any index bank rather than Tata Capital. But certainly for 1 to 3 years, if one is holding, absolute return would be there in Tata Capital. So one can hold for a very long term Tata Capital.
All right, so that's the
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now from ET Now SBI Live Studio, and it's time to answer your stock-specific queries. We have with us Kunal and Mr. Chokalingam on the show, who are our experts. Welcome back, both of you. And Kunal, let's take Mr. C.S. Gagan's question, and he is holding Biocon. Wants to know the midterm outlook. 419 is his rate.
See, you can continue to hold on to the stock at current levels. The only catch over here for Biocon is that it's always better to average the stock when the stock goes into at least a 7 to 8% correction from its recent swing highs. We've seen that phenomena happening and playing out for Biocon over the last 2 or 3 years, where the stock tried to scale closer to that 400 mark. There were times when the stock went to a 15 to 20% correction also. But then broadly, I think a 7 to 8% correction from the swing high is a good strategy to average the stock. I also believe that this 420 levels from where the stock has retraced is a good resistance for Biocon over the near term. So if your time frame is limited towards say 6 months to 1 year, I would believe 380-85 could be a good zone where you can look to average Biocon, and then wait out for a point when the stock crosses the levels of 420, which could be a breakout for the stock.
All right, so that's take coming in on Biocon. Let's watch out for that. But now we have a live caller on the show, and Bobby is here with us on the phone line, joining us from Kerala. Hi, Bobby. Morning. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. I'm Bobby from Thrissur, Kerala. I have 450 shares of Venkeys at 3,580 per share at a total investment of around 11 lakhs. And as of today, I'm already in a loss of around 9 lakhs. So I have a question, should I hold or exit this, please?
Oh, yes.
If I exit, what would be the best company, or which would be the best company to invest in? I would request your views, please. Thank you.
All right, Bobby, that's quite not great news to know that you have lost so much of capital in Venkeys, because maybe back in 2021 we have seen the stock closer to these levels. But Mr. Chokalingam, you heard his query. Almost 11 lakhs invested in Venkeys India at a price of 3,500 rupees, close to that. What should he do right now? He's already at a huge loss. Your advice?
Yeah. So, if you go by fundamental, it is a sell. There is no doubt, because last 3 years revenue has been degrowing considerably, and Q2 performance also quite bad, posted losses. But my only fear is that this stock, I have seen it for last 20 years. Every time in one of the bull runs, it always gets a perception-driven rally. That is only my fear. So, risk-taking investors can hold it and then see, hopefully, is there any tactical upside. But otherwise, I would focus on, something like L&T or M&M. I believe those stocks give me a lot of confidence, particularly time like this when a lot of small cap stocks are bleeding. But if we can continue to take more risk, then one can hold it and hope for a tactical recovery in the stock price.
All right, tactical recovery. Bobby, is there anything else you want our experts to help you with? Bobby?
Yeah, I guess that's about it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for asking your question, and all the best. Kunal, let's take this query on Mindtree. This is Sudha, and it's a long-term buy though. Sona, BLW, LTI, Mindtree, that's what she's looking at.
Yeah, I think both of them are interesting names, and it seems like that, for example, from the IT pack, NT Infotech, Mindtree, and most of the IT stocks, I sense, are going through a formation where medium-term bottom could be at place. There could be a minor correction at play, but from the next 12 months perspective, 24 months perspective, the risk reward is extremely attractive at current levels. So Mindtree is something which I'll be bullish on. Sona BLW also, I think, at closer to 400 levels seems to have formed a major bottom. We've seen that this last 2 or 3 months, the stock seems to have shown good recovery. It's come back from those 400 levels to 508 mark, encouraging patterns of bullish engulfing on the quarterly charts for the stock price at current levels. So that could probably be indicative that we formed a near to medium term bottom for the stock. On the higher side, the stock seems to have major resistance at 750 levels, but that's almost 50% higher from current zone. So Sona BLW also looks extremely attractive at current levels. Would suggest a buy on both of these names.
All right, that's the take on both of these counters. But Kunal, once again, a query coming specifically for you. Lakshmanan, who's a senior citizen writing to us from Bangalore, is holding shares of Asian Paints at a price of 2,500. He's holding 75 shares in his portfolio. What will be your advice in this one? He's afraid that since he's not giving him much of a profit, should he exit this counter and maybe invest in some of these auto companies like M&M or Maruti, but they have already seen a good fair of run up?
No, I think I would suggest, if you ask me, to definitely stay invested into Asian Paints. The cycle for the stock has started to turn around. The stock has been a huge underperformer from 2021. There was a point when Asian Paints was almost at 3,500 plus levels. And in this leg of correction, the last 4 years, the stock has not just underperformed with respect to the market, but then it's also went to a correction from 3,500 to, I think, as much as 2,300, 2,200 levels for Asian Paints. So time-wise, price-wise, the stock has been a huge underperformer. We've seen the stock coming back into its own in this last 1 month of price recovery. It's almost up 22% from its recent swing lows, and indicative that a major cycle turnaround could probably have started off for Asian Paints. So since you're a long-term investor, that's my assumption, I would definitely suggest to stay invested into Asian Paints.
It's a hold in Asian Paints. But Chokalingam sir, this is Anita's question from Pune, and she wants to know about Muthoot. It's clearly a short-term outlook that she is looking at.
Yeah. So it is, valuation-wise it is stretched, but still I would suggest hold because the growth story is really phenomenal. I think management would be able to maintain the growth, and therefore medium to long term they would be able to justify the valuation multiple. Hence, it's a hold from my side.
Next query, Kunal, is coming in from Bhagwant. He's holding shares of Havells, 75 shares at a price of 1,450 rupees. What's the upside potential for this particular counter, and any holding period, any return expectations from this counter?
See, Havells could be a tricky stock because on the weekly and the monthly charts, the stock or the indicators have started to show signs of weakness. Now, the stock is already below its 200 DMA and the 50-day moving average for the past 2 months. I think, if I'm not wrong, from the month of September end is where the stock had broken below this average around the 1550, 1575 mark. So Havells has been an underperformer since then. The charts look a little bit more weak. I would suggest that not to average out the stock at current levels. Maybe in case if the stock comes closer to your cost price in this process of a bounce back, because in the last 2 months, even though the stock has gone to a downtrend, it's given you those rallies of 50 points, 100 points for itself. So I think if it comes closer to your cost price of, say, or to levels of 1,500, 1,550 mark, that's actually a good zone where you may look to exit the stock and then try to buy the stock back into a corrective phases.
All right, so that was on Havells India. Chokalingam sir, this is a question on Route Mobile, and this is Bala from Chennai. Wants to know, can I enter the stock at the current price?
I would suggest buy for a little risk-taking investors, considering the current performance and also the stock price correction.
Right. The next query that I have, Kunal, is on Aurobindo Pharma, wherein KR Balan wants your view on Aurobindo Pharma. You also had his query on Tata Capital, but that we have addressed earlier in the show. So please refer to that. But specifically, Aurobindo Pharma, he's looking for a fresh buy here, Kunal. Does it make sense?
See, ideally, I would have not recommended Aurobindo Pharma because of the volatile nature of the stock. But then, on the medium-term chart, specifically on the weekly time frame, there are strong evidences that the indicators are starting to come into a breakout mode. The MACD, for example, for Aurobindo Pharma has come back into a weekly breakout. And the last time this has happened for Aurobindo Pharma was in 2020 as well as 2023. And in both of those cycles, the stock apparently did exceptionally well for itself over the medium to long term. So if you go by that kind of a scenario, then yes, at current levels, it looks extremely attractive. You might probably want to keep maybe a stop loss to this trade, say closer to 1,080, 1,090 mark, for a trade for Aurobindo Pharma. And this weekly indicator plays out the way the stock has played out in the last two attempts in 2020 and 23, then we could be looking at a substantial upside for the stock in the next 6 to 12 months.
All right, put the stop loss and you can hold on this trade. We have Lakshmanan asking this question, and I will come to you, Chokalingam sir. This is on Asian Paints, bought 5 years before, and now he wants to know what should be the further trajectory, until what time he should be holding this, and also he's in losses in Wipro. Purchases around 400, that's what he says. What's going to be the medium term outlook for this also?
Yeah. To take up Wipro, I prefer Infosys because it's it's using this AI and stock price correction, and also Q2 performance gives much better conviction Infosys as compared to Wipro. And as far as Asian Paint is concerned, the short term is a hold. Although I have a negative view on medium to long term because of entry of two large industrial houses in the paint business, but still short term it might see some more upside because oil price has corrected nearly 22% from 52-week high, and I believe oil price can fall much more substantially because of a slowdown in the economic growth in China and many other Western world, and therefore Asian Paints can benefit in terms of margin expansion. So therefore, it's a hold in the short term.
A hold in the short term, and with that, it's a wrap. Thank you so much, Kunal and Mr. Chokalingam, for being on the show and helping our viewers with their stock-specific queries. But for all the viewers, you don't have to go anywhere. A short break, and post that, more conversation, more sector-specific conversations coming up.